slide turner. It's a very important position that I've got today. But Jerry, we're really happy that you were able, on short notice, to come here and do your presentation for us during this Martin Luther King weekend, a weekend where we recognize the importance of justice and peace in our congregation, in our community, and in our world. Jerry, you take it.
Good morning, church. Good morning. My name is Jerry Locula, as I was well introduced. Thank you, Jody, for introducing me. That was a very great introduction. And I come from a very small country called Liberia. I thank Pastor Garth Schumacher for the great leadership he provides to this church. Through my interactions with him and the great work he's doing here, I think he's a great gift to this church. I also thank you for being a great congregation because of the great and mighty work you are doing in this church. I've been in the United States for nearly 4 months now, and I've had some wonderful experiences. And one of the best experiences is I got to see snow for the first time. And yesterday I went out there to do some pictures. My fingers got frozen. I took them and put in the hot water, but that's the worst thing I did. Even right now, my fingers stay tinker. And I hope you are enjoying the snow as well as I'm enjoying. Thank you very much. On last week, Wednesday, when I walked into this church, I read so many papers and posters on the wall. But I read these. We are an open and affirming congregation. We know that Jesus excludes no one from his love, and we chose to do likewise. That's really mighty. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Those are very inspiring expressions, and I'm sure this is why I'm here today. Thank you for this great invitation. I bring you greetings from Liberia, especially my family. The first person on the left there is my wife. She works as a registered nurse. And the second person is our youngest son. So far the youngest in the family, he's 3. And those are my 2 girls over there. They extended their warmest and sincerest greetings to you. On this Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, I've come to share with you about some of the work that I'm doing in Africa in the context of social justice, particularly from Liberia and South Sudan. I can point out Liberia. Liberia is in the far west coast of Africa, and South Sudan somewhere in the middle there. So let's look at what scriptures and human rights say. As Martin Luther King Jr. will preach, those who are generous are blessed, for they share their bread with the poor. As we heard in the scriptures this morning, that's Proverbs 22, verse 9. And in the Proverbs, the bread will mean our clothes, our food, even our money, our homes, and our talent. And when I went to school and earned masters in international law and human rights, I thought the only thing I can do, I should be able to use my talent in the context of social justice to help those who are unheard. And in Liberia, I'd like to share briefly about the war. I was just 12 years when the war started in Liberia, and I personally survived corporal punishment from armed groups. And a lot of people were killed. They first of all tied them, killed them, and they were left aside by the road to be eaten by animals. We faced horrendous brutality. And at the end of the day, we ran into the bushes and abandoned our home. For many nights and days, we slept by flooded rivers. In the cold, no blanket, waiting for the sun to arrive. And we experienced so many crises that I can't go into right now, but I will have the time to talk about some of those experiences. My oldest sister, the one we looked up to in our family, was killed during the war in 1990. And I remember one night, rebel soldiers came to our home and demanded my dad to give my cousin to be a wife to the fearful rebel commander. And in order to save my family and her life, my father let her go. But again, I remember that when rebels came and captured towns and villages, it was very horrendous for everybody, including women and girls. And you can see in the pictures here, these are some of the children who were left with hunger, and they died from starvation and malnutrition. Government soldiers, the government that's supposed to protect the people, the government soldiers went into my church, the St. Peter's Lutheran Church, and killed 600 persons on the 29th of July, 1990. 600 persons in cold blood. This picture is just the aftermath of the killing. And this was done by 30 soldiers who were supposed to provide protection to the citizens. But like I said, all of those things put together changed my life to do the work that I do today. But one of those stories is also just closer to me. I remember my mom and I going to the village to attend the funeral of one of her family members. And later on, one of my aunts or my auntie showed up, but she appeared so poor. My mom wasn't happy, but in no time, she began to explain to my mom how she was experiencing, brutality at home, domestic violence from her husband. And I remember her lifting up her blouse, showing marks, scars on her body. She was abused many days and nights, thrown outside of the home, and left to sleep in the cold. I was very young, and culturally, there's no reason why I should have interaction with my aunt on such a thing, but I did. I went to her and said, but you have to take him to court. And that woman said, I am ashamed of the abuses. I am broken down, but I'm just a woman. That word, that expression alone went into me. Because she's not just a woman, she is a human being. So she should not be treated as though being a woman is something that you have no regard for. Both man and woman, we are all human beings. And if you look into the preamble of the Constitution of the United States of America, even the preamble of the United Nations Charter, and all the preambles of the constitutions around the world, of all the countries, all men are born free and equal. Why should women be treated simply because they are women? That alone led me up to fight for the rights of women in Africa, in my community, in Liberia, and I will continue to do this in as much or as long as I have the strength, the help, and the ability to do so. I interacted with victims and even people who have experienced crisis firsthand. And this is Liberia, where I volunteered in 2003 in the context of disarmament. I have felt that after 14 years of war, we would only have peace in Liberia if we took the guns from the hands of those who were carrying guns. And thanks be to God that that contribution helped the country. We had successful disarmament. But after the disarmament, what could we have done in order to have our government moving? It was only through elections. So that's why I went from village to village, from town to town, teaching people, creating awareness on our rights to vote. But not only the right, but the power our votes have. And that actually resonated with many people. Like you heard Jody talk about in the introduction, a lot of rural population, men and women, but also children, young people. But thanks be to God, through advocacy, through providing technical expertise to local member of parliament, laws were enacted to guarantee the rights of girls to education. There were many foreigners detained. There were a lot of local people also detained, some in proxy detention. I committed a crime, I ran away. They came and collected my parents and locked them up for what I had done. Through my work in advocacy, many of these people were also released from detention. And I've always said in my own little weak ways that life is all about service to humanity. And our world can only be a better place for all of humanity if we stand up and help the hopeless and the destitute in finding the true meaning of life. If we can do that, I'm sure we will give hope to somebody. I was telling like Jody this morning, Jody, sorry that I continue to refer to you over and over. But Martin Luther died, I'm sure he did not die in vain, because this mighty church, this congregational church of the United Church of Christ here in Rochester, continued to do the work that Martin Luther King Jr. did. I've been around America for the last few months, and this is his birthday. I've not heard any church talk about having such a celebration. But you've set aside this Sunday or this week talking and remembering the work of Martin Luther King Jr. That's the mighty work you are doing. And I want you to clap for yourself for this. Can you just clap for yourself? Thank you for the great job. And lastly, in Liberia, there's something called the kola nut. The kola nut is a sacred nut that is used in ceremonies, in events, in occasion. People use it to appreciate people. They use it to thank people. People use it to even swear. They eat it when if two communities come together and fight, or have misunderstanding of two families. When the elders come together to settle that dispute, at the end of the day, the people eat the kola nuts and they swear that what we have done that have brought this great shame, this unity to this family or to this community, we will never go back to that. After eating the kola nuts, 10, 15, 20, 30 years can pass. Even if somebody from the family will retrospect and then want to come back to revenge, when they think about the kola nuts that they ate some years back, they can never go back to the crisis. But today I want to use the kola nuts to say thank you for inviting me and thank you for the great job you are doing. Pastor, thank you very much.
Thank you for the great work you have been doing in your life to bring equality and justice and peace to Liberia and surrounding countries. We really appreciate you sharing these stories to remind us that it is through our own compassion with humanity that we are truly, truly alive. So thank you very much, Jerry, for joining us. And you'll be able to have some question and answer time after the worship service. We'll give ourselves 10 minutes or 15 minutes out there in the narthex to have coffee and some treats. And then we'll congregate into the parlor to be able to talk some more.
So there are a lot of things that we didn't get to say because of time, but I'd be happy if you ask me some of the burning questions during the next 10 or 15 minutes where we have coffee. I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.